for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred, and today we have filed a lawsuit against the City of Los Angeles as the result of outrageous and tortious wrongs committed by a police officer employed by the City of Los Angeles against a deceased woman, Elizabeth Baggett. May she rest in peace. Our lawsuit alleges that on October 20th, 2019, Los Angeles police officers, LAPD, visited the home of Elizabeth Baggett and found that she was deceased. It is alleged in a criminal case that is being prosecuted in LA County now that after finding Elizabeth to be deceased, Defendant David Rojas sexually molested her. We allege in our lawsuit that after Elizabeth's death, LAPD officer David Rojas fondled Elizabeth's breasts and felt her nipples. This sexual contact with Elizabeth was allegedly recorded on the defendant's body cam, and the video also reportedly shows her naked form. To make matters worse, this video has been viewed by others. California law, Health and Safety Code Section 7052 prohibits sexual contact with any remains known to be human, and such contact with an intimate part of a dead human body for the purpose of sexual arousal is a felony. Defendant Rojas has been criminally charged with that felony, and his case is awaiting a date to be set for a preliminary hearing in Los Angeles County Criminal Court. It has been delayed a number of times. Elizabeth Baggett is the daughter of Janet Baguette, who is here with me today. We are representing her in this lawsuit, and we are also representing Elizabeth's minor son, Preston Sertich, and his father, Michael Sertich, in this lawsuit. We are alleging invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, mishandling of human remains, violation of Civil Code Section 1708.85, which prohibits distribution of such a video, intrusion into private affairs, and violation of statutory duties. We're seeking compensatory and punitive damages according to proof at trial. The unexpected loss of Elizabeth has been devastating for her family, and learning that she and her remains have been so disrespected and violated has compounded the loss and inflicted horrific pain and suffering on her loved ones. Learning too that the video of her alleged sexual molestation has been viewed by others sickens them and is deeply disturbing. So many women are sexually abused during their lifetime, and now we learn that some are even sexually victimized after their deaths. To add insult to injury, the knowledge that a police officer during the course of his investigation of the death of a young woman would take advantage of his position of power and of trust to allegedly sexually abuse the body of a deceased person is very upsetting. It is not only against the law, but it is also against all sense of human decency. This victim, Elizabeth Baggett, was Janet Baguette's daughter, and this victim was Preston Sertich's mother. This victim, Elizabeth Baggett, was also the mother of Michael Sertich's son. There must be accountability to this family for this shameful course of conduct. What an officer from the LAPD did to Elizabeth must never happen again. We look forward to vindicating the rights of this family in a court of law. And before I present Janet, I would like to read the statement of Elizabeth's minor son. He could not be here with us today, but he did ask that I read his statement. This is a statement of Preston Sertich. He's 15 years old. When I was younger, I wanted to be in law enforcement, idolizing the hero, helping others, arresting criminals, and saving lives. To David Rojas, after losing my mom and processing what you did to her in her time of need, I can't sleep. All I can think of is, why? How could you do something like that? Why would you think something like that was acceptable? You had to know what you were doing was undeniably wrong and immoral. To the City of Los Angeles and to the LAPD, my trust in the police to do the right thing has been violated by this disgraceful act. That was my mother, someone's daughter, someone's sister. David Rojas's behavior was vile. David Rojas does not deserve to be a police officer. What has this officer gotten away with to believe that this was even possible? Is there a pattern of behavior against women, arrestees, or decedents? How could you employ this man and let him represent your city? I would like to regain my trust in the police and believe that they are good people who are there to protect and serve the public rather than to harm them. Only time will tell. Preston Sertich, son of Elizabeth Baggett. And now Elizabeth's mother, Janet Baguette.
I learned in the despair of losing Elizabeth that she was abused by a police officer sworn to protect her and all of us. Shock and disgust does not even come close to describing the horror of hearing this news. I'm infuriated that this man had so little respect for another human being, our Elizabeth, for not having the thought that she was someone's daughter or granddaughter and mother. We, her family, have sleepless nights if we are able to sleep at all. I personally wake in sweats and nightmares that haunt me about the events of Elizabeth's death. Days are not much better. They are often filled with tears and constant shock. Is there a word? Is it daymares? I am sitting here listening to Louis Armstrong singing a song, What a Wonderful World. I think of Elizabeth singing this song in a school recital. I think to myself, what a wonderful world it was with Elizabeth in it. The words of the song are so comforting. I just want justice for my daughter because of this horrible, disgusting act. I live in fear that the video will surface and another devastation will be added to what is already unbearable. Elizabeth was so loved by everyone who knew her, and some she never met. My nephew, Elizabeth's cousin, was married this last weekend. His fiancée, now wife, wanted something of Elizabeth's to tie to her bouquet. We let her borrow a ring that was Elizabeth's. This came from the love and compassion that Elizabeth's cousin and entire family had and has for her. We wanted Elizabeth at the wedding. We had her in our hearts, and her ring was on the bouquet. How special it was for all of us. Another instance of a story shared with me from someone that never really knew Elizabeth was my son's girlfriend, telling me that Elizabeth is always with her when she is out in Colorado on hikes. She knew that Elizabeth loved hiking so much. As for myself, Elizabeth's dad, sister, brother, and son, we are struggling. We are all afraid to speak about Elizabeth because we are hurt and angry, and we don't want to remind one another of our pain. Our silence is the heartache that we all share. Today I speak for Elizabeth because she can't. Janet Baggett, mother of Elizabeth Baggett. Thank you.
You know what, while you're up, we're going to stand up. We're going to take some questions in just a minute, but for now. Okay. You want to stand right there? Could you move back a little, please? Thank you. I don't need a mic. Okay. Want to take any questions? Okay.
Gloria,
She'll take some questions, I'll take some questions. You just let us know who that is.
Thank you, Gloria. Could you tell us, when were you first made aware of the incident?
What,
And how were you made
meaning
aware?
when was Janet made aware?
Yes, please.
Okay, here, you
Don't
can,
mind, Janet.
you have to be by the mic.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you. Apologize for your loss.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want to find out how you were made aware of the situation?
About a month after her death, I was
Do you
informed.
want to take your mask off?
Oh, okay.
That's okay, and just speak loudly, not so everybody can hear you. Okay, speak up.
I got a call from the Internal Affairs Division at LAPD.
But did they tell you the extent of what had happened?
He asked me if I knew, I don't know if there's a formal name for it, but the body cam basically asked me if I knew what that was, and I said yes, and he explained what had happened, that the police officers reviewing the tape had found what had happened.
What on earth went through your mind at that point?
What did my
What
mind?
went through your mind at that point?
Shock and disgust, and just how could this happen? And I'd already lost my daughter, and on top of this, it's just egregious to me. That,
Yes.
34.
Elizabeth, I'm so sorry. I'm Janet. I'm so sorry to hear Elizabeth. Can you just tell us a little bit about what she was like as a person? I mean, these pictures, she looked like so full of life. Can you just kind of paint a picture for us who didn't get a chance to meet her?
She was so full of life. She was an artist and just lived life to the fullest. She never met a stranger. Everybody that I constantly hear from her friends still. Might seem silly to say, but if you look at her Facebook, she still has like 5,000 friends on Facebook, and they still comment to this day about her life and the love that they all had for her. She never met a stranger, and she was just always so happy and fun-loving.
And Gloria, I just had a question for you as well. Just about the,
Go back over here.
Oh, yes.
And just about the
You can put your
investigation.
mask on. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Just about the investigation, what made investigators decide to watch this tape of his, and actually pick his body camera? And I know it was a young cop, but didn't he know that there was a 2-minute delay on the camera?
Only the LAPD can say why they decided to watch the video on the body cam. My understanding is they do random checks when a body cam is stopped, but they would need to comment, if they wish to, on why, in this particular case, they decided to watch the body cam. And then your second part of your question.
It doesn't matter, it's a horrendous incident regardless, but I would think that the police officers know about turning their cameras off and the delay it has. I just wonder why.
It's our understanding that in the training of police officers in the LAPD, that they are told that if they turn off the body cam, what could happen. In other words, that it doesn't stop recording at that moment, and that it is subject to being viewed by others in the police department. What he was thinking at that moment, I can't tell you. And we'll see if, as and when he decides to testify in a criminal case and later at some point in a civil case.
So Gloria, have you filed a claim, or is this an actual civil suit?
We actually filed a claim months ago. The claim was never denied. We never received any communication except that we have evidence that the claim was filed. And so we are within our rights to file the lawsuit at this time because the claim was not responded to within the period of time when it could have been responded to. Unlike the other case that I had a news conference on a while back, in that case, the claim was denied. We filed the lawsuit. That was the Cardenas case. Here, we just received no response whatsoever.
So you haven't even been approached about settling or...
We've received no response at all to the filing of the claim.
What specifically are you asking for in the suit?
Well, we have set forth our causes of action, and we are seeking damages according to proof of trial. We're not stating a specific amount in the lawsuit. That's not what we do when we file a lawsuit, because we'll have to see what the damages are. The damages are continuing to this family, and we'll see what they are if, as, and when this case goes to trial.
And just to be clear, are you suing just the officer or the city and the officer? Who are all of the defendants in this case? I haven't had a chance to read through.
That's okay. So this is a copy of the lawsuit that we filed, that we sent down for filing this morning. It's on behalf of Janet Baguette, Preston Sertich, by and through his guardian ad litem, Michael Sertich Jr., Michael Sertich Jr. and the estate of Elizabeth Baggett, through the personal representatives Janet Baguette and Preston Sertich. Those are the plaintiffs, versus David Rojas, the City of Los Angeles, and does 1 to 20. The reason for the does 1 to 20 is because we don't know who else, if anyone, might have been involved in this matter. So during discovery, if, as, and when we find the names of anyone else who should be defendants in this lawsuit, then we will provide their names instead of the doe. But it's the city of Los Angeles that employs the police officer, and that is why they are the defendant in this lawsuit.
Gloria, the lawsuit would indicate some sense on your part that there's negligence on the city for allowing this to happen. And in the Elizabeth's son's statement, he said, what else has this officer done to think that he could get away with this, or something along those lines. Can you speak to the importance in your mind of bringing this lawsuit in relation to the broader department and what may be going on within the department?
We want to find out how this could have happened. We want to find out why this happened. We never want it to happen again. As I say, I am used to women being sexually abused and children being sexually abused during their lifetime. It's just horrific to think that a woman, even after her death, is being sexually molested. It's just the height of disrespect. I can never get used to even a living woman or child being sexually abused, but to abuse the body of a deceased person is just completely unforgivable. It's against the law, and especially in this manner, to treat human remains in this manner, completely unacceptable. If, in fact, the sexual molestation of her is proven, if in fact it is proven that he did it for the purpose of sexual arousal of himself, that's a felony, and there should be consequences. I do want to say it's very disturbing to the family that there are constant delays in this criminal case. I've been monitoring it for the family. This preliminary hearing has been delayed many, many times. It still has not yet taken place. We understand that COVID-19 has slowed down the work of the courts, so we're not here to blame anyone, but we do need it to move forward.
The status of Officer Rojas, he's on administrative leave.
I'm sorry,
The status of Officer Rojas, is he on administrative leave? And
I don't know the status of Officer Rojas. I think the LAPD could fill you in on that as to what it is currently.
I just have one more question for Janet, if that's okay, if anyone else, unless anyone else wants for Gloria, but I know you read your statement, but could you
Okay,
just-
then if it's for her, I'll have her sit here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just speaking from your heart, kind of just help us understand like what you're going through. I know you touched on it in your statement, but what it's like for you on a daily basis to live with this.
It's a nightmare. I constantly just try to get through life on a day-to-day basis. But just the thought that this could happen to my daughter, her death was bad enough. And then just every day, just trying, my mind will wander and I just get sick to my stomach pretty much because I think of something like this happening to her. And so it's just really difficult. But I have to live my life and I do honor Elizabeth every single minute, and I just want justice for her. I don't want this to happen to another human being either. But
Has it been difficult to help your grandson wrap his head around this?
he lives with his father most of the time, so he is with him, and he struggles a lot. They came out, so they drove from San Antonio to Los Angeles the very night, the next day that we heard about her death. And they tried to get, Elizabeth's things from her apartment and were not able to couldn't get the cops to help them or anything. And I think that they've just really struggled with, even since that night, just police officers and then compounding that they had to find out about this as well. It's just been very, very difficult for him to get through. He's very angry. And he's 15.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.